A UN resolution condemning Syria for last week's attack will be put to the Security Council later today. Yesterday, Vice President Joe Biden became the highest-ranking U.S. official to accuse Syria's government.
There is no doubt who is responsible for this heinous use of chemical weapons in Syria: the Syrian regime. For we know that the Syrian regime are the only ones who have the weapons, have used chemical weapons multiple times in the past, have the means of delivering those weapons, have been determined to wipe out exactly the places that were attacked by chemical weapons. And instead of allowing UN inspectors immediate access, the government has repeatedly shelled the sites of the attack and blocked the investigation for 5 days. The president believes, and I believe, that those who use chemical weapons against defenseless men, women, and children should and must be held accountable.
Major Garrett is at the White House this morning. Major, what's the latest on the intelligence assessment about the chemical attack?
Well, good morning, Anthony and Gail. President Obama convened for the second time in 4 days a cabinet-level meeting here at the White House yesterday to discuss the entire Syrian issue. And a good deal of that conversation was devoted to this key question of the intelligence being gathered to prove what the administration says is an absolutely airtight case that the Syrian regime was responsible for this chemical weapons attack. And we have learned that this declassified report, which could be released as early as tomorrow, will contain some signal intelligence, that is to say, phone calls or evidence about the preparations for the attack within the Syrian regime and other data collected about how it was carried out and how it was set in motion. That is the kind of evidence the administration wants to put before the American public and the world to underscore its case, to provide more evidence than the circumstantial case that Joe Biden made and that soundbite we just heard and other administration officials have made this week.
Major, do you think U.S. credibility is at stake now an attack is inevitable?
Well, nothing is inevitable where military action is concerned. Any president or advisor to a president will tell you that. But everything that we get here this week suggests that this is on a very sustained momentum. And the president is building the case not just within Congress, but also trying to communicate to other world leaders that this is a violation of an international norm that has been standing since the early part of the 20th century. It cannot be ignored, and some form of military punishment must be exacted to underscore the international community's revulsion about the use of chemical weapons and to hold the Syrian regime accountable.
Major, several lawmakers have called on Obama to get congressional approval before launching an attack. Where's the White House standing on dealing with Congress and the UN on this?
Two things, Anthony. The administration says it will consult with Congress, but doesn't necessarily need its authorization to carry this out. As far as the United Nations is concerned, it's a test vote today about condemning the Syrian government for the use of chemical weapons. If that doesn't prevail in the Security Council, the administration will say, you see, Russia vetoed that, stood in the way of that. We can still carry out military action under other parts of international law, specifically the Geneva Convention and the Chemical Weapons Convention. It will be those legal frameworks the administration will turn to if it doesn't believe it can obtain United Nations Security Council approval.
All right, Major Garrett, we thank you.